So we are back in the wild world of TEW and Supreme Wrestling. And this time, last time it wasn't about anything regarding the bigger picture, but this time is a little bit different because this time is about the bigger picture. And this time it's about telling a story that's going to start now and to build to the summertime, and in some cases, through the summer into the end of the year. And with that being said, let's see how the single heavy show gets going. But I just want to put it out there that the Battle Bowl has moved to the month of June, and the Battle Bowl will take place in the month of June, where the winners of Battle Bowl will be determined still at Wrestling Classic, as we move the Wrestling Classic from April to June. And then the winners of the Battle Royal at Wrestling Classic will challenge the Tag Team Champions at July's Supreme Challenge. But with that being said, so basically what I'm saying is Tag Team Wrestling will be will be sent to the forefront at the end of April. Sometime in the middle of May, as we head into June and the Wrestling Classic / Battle Bowl. With that being said, though, that is where we get going with this episode of Slamfest to start the month of April, as Warren Hampton continues to start measure his momentum in the right direction, as Warren Hampton just made his debut in SWF from Florida, as Florida let him go, and now we are branching him out and getting him popular, which I could be wrong, but I think the Northwest is not one of those places where Warren Hampton is popular. So, with that being said, it just so happens that Warren has to earn his popularity back in these parts of the world, like he has in the East Coast. He's got to earn it on the West Coast. But his introduction, and as he says, until it becomes second nature for all of you, I will remind you that I'm Warren Hampton, which means I'm better than you. Hollywood Mike Kinsey gets a match against Ike Branyan. Hollywood just gets out there, gets himself in the ring, and that's all it is, because I don't want him to just seem like somebody who... Honestly, I don't want him to seem like somebody who's nursing an injury and doesn't compete. But now we move to Babbitt and Brooklyn Punk, as Babbitt and Brooklyn Punk have been turning away the challenge of Alex Pierce, as Alex Pierce voiced his opinion, and I think I mentioned this in the last episode that I recorded. Alex Pierce throughout the challenge for the world title, for the television title, he wanted to be next. But the fact of the matter is, he couldn't be next because Brooklyn Punk and Babbitt are trying to stand in his way. Or they don't want him to be next, is the better way to put it. The fact of the matter is, though, they're not the ones who make the final decision, are they? As we are slowly pacing out the feud between Brooklyn Punk and Alex Pierce. Angus McLeod talking about slowly pacing it. Angus McLeod takes a shot and pokes Mickey Starr with Aries, saying, "It pains me to say this, but Mickey Starr is right. the story is not about me anymore. It's about Angus. But the fact is, I will take as much satisfaction as we did beating Sam Strong as I would have if it was me beating Mickey Starr. As if it was me beating Mickey Starr when Angus finally does, just like we took satisfaction when we beat Sam Strong as a way to send you a message, Mickey. We mean business. Madman McManus is continuing his winning ways and his impressive in-ring performances against Clint Wayne. Madman has been high 70s, low 80s, or mid 80s in some cases for the last couple of months, and that's why he keeps getting squash matches, because fact of the matter is, Madman McManus is showing a side of himself that I have never seen in almost 3 years being a part of my company. And now here's one of the reasons why we are talking about the big picture, and it's not just about Alex Pearson, Brooklyn Punk. It is about Dusty Streets. Dusty has been talking about the last couple of years. Dusty has been talking the last couple of weeks about the last couple of years and about the fact that he feels like there's tension within the Streets family. And the tension has been caused by his father. In this, he sits down again with Bob Johnson, again thanking Bob, saying that the only reason why he picked Bob is because he respects him and because he wanted this opportunity to talk with no one interrupting him, with nobody telling him he's wrong or telling him he's lying or telling him his facts are inaccurate. But the fact of the matter is, you go back to 1979. Go back, like I said, to when my father defeated me in the semifinals of the King of the Squared Circle, and I put myself on the line. I put my career on the line. I said if I lost King of the Squared Circle, I would be gone for 60 days. I was that confident that I put everything on the line, but my father was the one who defeated me. My father was the one who stunted my career because there was one thing that proved why he didn't care. And that's what I wanted to talk about tonight. Because from July 1979 until October 1980, there is one person that my father cared about, and that was Sid. That was my brother. Because from the time I got injured in 1980, in January 1980, till the time my brother lost his championship, even if you want to go back to when he became a mute, my father cared more about a mute than he cared about me. My father cared more about my brother's chase for the title than he cared about our chase for the tag belts. My father cared more about my brother when he sided with Aries than he did when I was home nursing a broken neck. My father cared more about my brother and getting my brother back than noticing the fact that Chris Marcus was looking at him to be his mentor. Chris Marcus was looking to him to be his mentor, just like I was looking to him to be a father. I was looking to him to be a tag team partner earlier in the year. And all he cared about was the fact that Wildman Sullivan, Dredd, and Luke Curtis took out my brother, and since then you've never seen him. Since then, you've never seen him, but it's not the first time my brother disappeared. You heard it from my father. You've heard it in the past from my brother. You've heard it before. My brother was a rebel. He turned against the family before, and this is nothing new. But the fact of the matter is, my father still cared about my brother more than he ever cared about me. And the fact that he willingly chose to put us winning back the tag titles on the same level as getting revenge for my brother who disappeared. And then add in the distraction that I had to pretend like I cared that my father was getting inducted into the Hall of Fame when he was trying to make it where that was on the level of us winning the tag belts back, was on the level of getting revenge for Sid, even though Kronos and Hagar themselves told us, focus on the 1%ers. Focus on Mayhem and Knight Rider. We have Wildman and Dread. But my father still wanted to be the one to get revenge. My father still wanted to be the one that put it on the same pedestal, and instead of focusing on one thing at a time, he stretched us here, there, and everywhere. What was important to me wasn't as important to him. So him getting inducted into the Hall of Fame, why should that be important to me when what is important to me isn't important to him? He's proven it time and time again. Every step of the way, he's proven it. And the fact is, he's always chosen everything else and everyone else before me. I'm tired of being the second fiddle. I'm tired of being the one that is behind everyone else. I matter, even if I don't matter to him. And I know that segment may have ran long, but I actually should have looked to see if that segment was too short, because honestly, I probably could have given it a little bit more time. But Dusty says a lot in that segment that he's left unsaid for the last 2 years. So he airs his dirty laundry. He airs exactly how he feels. You know, he airs exactly how he feels about his father, and that, you know, the reality is now we're at the point where Dusty doesn't need to keep telling stories. We're at the point where we need to hear from Rocky. But first we go to Romeo, because Romeo had gotten injured in July of last year. Romeo had gotten injured in July of last year ahead of Supreme Challenge, when an 8-man tag team match was supposed to take place between Romeo Hart, the Flames, and Brooklyn Punk against Mickey Starr, Sam Strong, Rick Rumble, and Max Patriot. But Romeo Hart suffered a herniated spinal disc, and it took him out until a couple of weeks ago. And after vignettes promoting his return, now we get his first match back as Romeo Hart defeats Stephen Deal in his first match back. And now we move to his first promo with Romeo Hart acknowledging that he was about to have the biggest moment of his career before tragedy struck and the injury happened. He says he's had a lot of time to think over the last year, and that maybe his attitude was influenced by those around him. And maybe he's ready to change how he sees things. Aries isn't the focal point of the story. I've said this since the start. Angus, I'm giving you another opportunity because I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hearing people think that they can get to me through Sam Strong. Sam Strong is his own person. Sam Strong is his own person. He is not my shadow. We are friends, we are tag team partners, but we have our own careers. We are not one and the same. So you beating him has nothing to do with me. And if you believe that, Angus, you are just as delusional as Aries. But Aries, the reason why I'm giving Angus another opportunity is because you're right. You're right. History is different now. But if there's one thing I've learned, I don't silence you with one victory. So maybe I can silence you with another. That's why I'm giving you one more chance, Angus. It's because I know your mentor better than you do, and I know it takes more than one to get him off my back. And now, speaking of another person that is ready to be a part of the bigger picture, that is Malcolm Rogue. That is Malcolm Rogue, who I've never really given the proper opportunity to vest in his potential. So I'm trying to give him an opportunity to show what potential he could have, because apparently, I don't know if you guys pay attention to the creative meetings, but I've been paying a little bit more attention to the creative meetings and learning from the creative meetings. Apparently, Malcolm Rogue has a lot of potential, so I kind of want to give him the opportunity to showcase what he can do if he's somebody that could be a top star in the future. So that's why he's feuding with Adrian Romero and going to be the chosen person to potentially beat Adrian for the Shooting Star Championship and become the second Shooting Star Champion. That is, if I want Adrian to drop the title. But speaking of people, it's time for Hagar. And I'm a little disappointed by this. I understand the finish. I understand the match. I understand the segment. But at the same time, I would have liked it to be a little bit better. Um, and this is why the match happened. It's because Kronos and Hagar are still with Goldstein Law, where they're building up the feud. Simple as that. The Crippler challenges Richie Pangrazio instead of putting forth and letting the ball stay in his court. He shifts gears and challenges Richie instead. Nothing more than Sam Keith getting on the show. Simple as that. Pick your poison next week for Angus and Mickey Starr ahead of Spring Fever. And all I could do is hope for the best with this main event as Joey Flame defeats the Max Patriot. I picked Joey because next to a few people, Joey is usually a sure thing in a singles match. Unfortunately, the match did not get high enough, maybe, to sustain the show, so I don't know where we're at as far as the final rating, but Alexei Terekov does continue his rivalry with the Patriot, costing him the match as it builds to the eventual match between Alexei and the Patriot. Yeah, I didn't think so. This is the worst show we've done all year, so it happens, but I you know, I wish that I wish it wasn't so selective or so I wish there wasn't such a bearing on the main event didn't have such a bearing on the show as far and it was more of a collective, but at the same time when the collective happens it's usually where we have multiple good segments where the main event it takes the pressure off the main event, and we really didn't have that today either. So the weight was on the main event, but I don't always have the ability to make the main event the best possible match because I don't always like giving away big matches with feuds in the main event. But I'm sure now that I'm thinking about it, I probably could have picked something else. As I'm thinking about it now, and there were a few other matches I probably could have picked. Either way, though, that is it from me. If you want more content with TEW, please feel free to let me know, and I will see you in the next one.